Je vous remercie d'être là. La conférence est terminée. Nous ne pensions pas qu'elle se terminerait si tôt, mais nous avons en tiré un certain nombre de conséquences et nous aurons des orateurs particulièrement intéressants. Je ne vais pas prendre la parole maintenant. Je vais laisser Madame Roz Rothstein, qui est présidente de l'ONG StandWithUs, présenter l'orateur qui devra ensuite partir, qui doit prendre le train, et c'est pour ça que nous nous pressons, l'orateur qui est Monsieur Alan Dershowitz. Avant de quitter le micro, je voudrais vous demander, pour ceux d'entre eux qui utilisent des engins pour la traduction, ne les abandonnez pas sur votre place quand vous partirez, parce que ça pose ensuite des problèmes. Rapportez-les devant, s'il vous plaît. Merci.
First, I'd like to apologize that I don't speak French, but I don't. I wish I did. I wish I did. Thank you to all the organizers of today's event. These important events are being watched by people all over the world. I am Roz Rothstein, CEO of StandWithUs, and also the child of Holocaust survivors. When I grew up, I believed that never again was supposed to mean something, that it wasn't an empty phrase. I always believed it was a promise, and that promise is fulfilled here at Durban too, because all of you are here together. Hundreds of activists, each of you gathered here in Geneva to make sure that the promise of never again was fulfilled. And so many of you here are under the age of 30, full of passion and commitment. You inspire people around the world to be part of this movement of living the promise of never again. You are not only the voices of tomorrow, but you are also the voices of today, right now, and the voices of those who could not be here with us that are watching from all over the world. Stand With Us was born in 2001, the year of Durban 1. Our initial agenda was to counter lies and misinformation through materials and articles and conferences and missions to Israel, and great speakers like Alan Dershowitz. But we never dreamed that we would be shifting our main focus to helping the global pro-Israel student community counter the lies and misinformation that they face today. I am so proud to see dozens of our Stand With Us Israeli fellows here in this room today. You stood up, and I am so proud to be here with you to live the promise of never again together. We were horrified as we watched Durban 1 when we first began our work. Anti-democratic forces spewed anti-Semitism and hijacked a noble agenda as they continue to do today. It is not just Jews and Israel that suffer from this hijacking, as we know. Think of all the human rights abuses and suffering around the world that continue to be ignored as these hijackers obsessively continue to focus on one country, the country that personifies the Jewish people. In 2001, we wanted to do something. We felt helpless and frustrated as we watched. We wanted to fight against the injustice. This time is different. We have mobilized and drawn strength from each other to ensure that never again is more than an empty slogan. We gathered here to give life, energy, and meaning to the promise. And each one of you is here today because we and the world should be celebrating Israel. Out of the ashes of 2 millennia of statelessness and persecution, the Jewish people rose up and restored their homeland. Against all odds, they created modern Israel with the international community's endorsement. Jews did not restore the land for the purpose of seeking revenge against their enemies. They sought life and hope, and the right to live as a democratic nation at peace with her neighbors. Israel inspires the world. In just 60 years, it created a robust democracy and a flourishing culture and economy. It is on the cutting edge of scientific achievements that help all people, including citizens from enemy countries. It is a world leader in humanitarian missions. It has upheld humanitarian values, even as it fights bitter wars against the terrorists and nations that threaten it. The world should be celebrating this nation, not obsessively singling it out for condemnation. The fact that this is happening is a symptom of a sickness that we must continue to fight, unfortunately, together. Today, we have the honor of welcoming one of the world's greatest champions of fulfilling the promise of never again. He is a champion of human rights and one of the most passionate and fearless defenders of Israel and the Jews. World-renowned Alan Dershowitz, the Felix Frankfurter Professor of Law at Harvard Law School. Alan Dershowitz was on the front lines of the Soviet Jewry movement and helped secure Natan Sharansky's freedom from the Soviet Union. His 3 recent books, The Case for Israel, The Case for Peace, and The Case Against Israel's Enemies, and his recent film, The Case for Israel, have told Israel's story worldwide. He speaks on Israel's behalf and on behalf of real peace, regularly on college campuses, on television, and in debates. Nobel laureate Elie Wiesel said, if there had been a few people like Alan Dershowitz during the 1930s and 1940s, the history of European Jewry might have been very different. In standing up for Israel, Alan Dershowitz knows that he is standing up for human rights for all people. Professor Dershowitz, by example and by deed, continues to galvanize all of us. By example, he will not allow us to remain silent. Please join us in welcoming the heroic, the outspoken Professor Alan Dershowitz.
Thank you so much. What a privilege it is for me to be here speaking to the real heroes of this conference. You, the people, the young people, the people of all ages who have stood up against tyranny, who have stared into the face of evil and said, no, no, we will not accept that evil. I'm thrilled to be here with the real champion of human rights, the person from whom I take my lessons every day, Erwin Cutler, who not only spoke here, but he took a plane yesterday. He flew to the place of the murders, the sites of the killings, to Auschwitz, spoke to young people there, got on the plane, and came back home here. I am pleased to be here today with Natan Sharansky, one of the great heroes of the human rights movement. Who not only, like Erwin and I, talked the talk, but walked the walk and sat in prison for years and years and years and said, I will not give in to evil. I have been so inspired by Natan. When they freed him from jail, they said, you can go free, but you can't take with you your Tehillim. You can't take with you the Psalms. And he said, then I'm staying. He was leaving under his conditions. He was leaving under his terms. He was saying to tyranny and evil, you can beat down my body, but you can never, ever beat down my spirit. And that's what I think we all stand for here today. There are probably others in this room who are heroes. I haven't singled them out because these are my 2 friends and my 2 soulmates, the people that I work so closely with on human rights matters and have for so many years.